If you've ever wondered how people survived and even thrived in kitchens during the toughest years of the Second World War, this video is for you. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to After the Sirens and hit the notification bell, because this channel is dedicated to uncovering the hidden details of history that often go untold. Drop a comment below if you've tried wartime recipes or are curious about food swaps from that era. They're more practical and surprisingly effective than you might think. Today, we're going to explore 10 Second World War food substitutions that not only worked under rationing, but in some cases outperform modern ingredients. This isn't just nostalgia. It's history with immediate practical applications for cooking, survival planning, or simply experimenting in your own kitchen. Swapping eggs with mashed potatoes gave texture and moisture that flour alone couldn't achieve. During the Second World War, eggs were a rare commodity, rationed tightly across Europe. Home cooks quickly discovered that mashed potatoes could mimic the binding properties of eggs in baked goods. By incorporating warm mashed potatoes into bread dough or cakes, the starch provided structure while retaining moisture, producing a surprisingly soft texture. Today, you can apply this by using leftover mashed potatoes when baking dense cakes or hearty bread, reducing reliance on eggs and creating a naturally moist crumb. It's a swap that modern baking often overlooks, yet it's an authentic wartime hack that works beautifully. Using powdered milk enhanced flavor and extended shelf life in wartime cooking. Fresh milk was scarce, so powdered milk became an essential substitute. It offered not just nutrition, but also a shelf-stable solution for creamy soups, puddings, and bread. What's fascinating is that powdered milk sometimes intensified flavor in ways fresh milk couldn't, adding a slight richness and body. For the modern cook or prepper, reconstituting powdered milk in recipes can replace fresh milk without altering texture, while giving you a shelf-stable alternative during long-term storage or emergencies. Substituting lard or dripping for butter added a savoury depth that modern butter often lacks. Butter shortages led to the creative use of animal fats like lard or beef dripping. These fats were higher in smoke point and could enhance roasted vegetables or pastry dough in ways butter sometimes failed to. Lard created flakier, sturdier pastry, while dripping infused roasted potatoes with intense flavour. If you're seeking more flavour in your cooking today, using these traditional fats selectively can elevate ordinary recipes, giving you a taste of wartime ingenuity. Replacing sugar with grated root vegetables allowed sweet dishes to survive rationing. When sugar became scarce, carrots, parsnips and beetroot were grated into cakes and puddings, providing natural sweetness while preserving moisture. The surprising twist is that these vegetables often improved texture and added subtle flavour complexity. Modern bakers can adopt this by grating carrot or beet into spice cakes or muffins, reducing refined sugar while boosting nutrition and authenticity. Rye flour replaced wheat flour to stretch bread rations and add nutritional value. Wheat was rationed heavily, so bakers turned to rye flour to bulk out loaves. Rye not only extended limited supplies, but added a denser, more aromatic quality that modern all-purpose flour just can't replicate. These days, Home cooks can, experiment with blending rye into their bread recipes to create really flavourful, hearty loaves. Or, if they're feeling adventurous, they can even craft sourdough variations that are inspired by the clever baking techniques of the wartime era. Back then, using gelatin from bones was a clever way to create rich desserts and soups without relying on commercial additives. Since commercial gelatin was, often expensive or simply unavailable, families would extract natural gelatin by simmering bones for hours. This practice resulted in broths, aspics and desserts that honestly had a depth of flavour that's quite different from what modern gelatin usually offers. Nowadays, making stock from bones is considered something of a gourmet technique, but really it's just a revival of wartime necessity. If you try simmering leftover bones slowly, you'll end up with jelly-like stocks that add a wonderful umami and nutrition to your soups or stews. Coffee substitutes made from roasted acorns, chicory or barley filled the morning cup without caffeine. When coffee imports dried up, folks would roast and grind acorns, chicory roots or barley to brew a dark, earthy beverage. These substitutes were more than just a caffeine replacement. They carried unique flavours that, honestly, modern instant coffee often cannot match. You can even experiment yourself by lightly roasting barley or chicory at home, grinding it up and brewing a bold, flavourful cup of coffee-like drink. It's perfect for mornings or, survival situations. Vinegar from leftover fruit scraps preserved foods and enhanced flavour naturally. Pickling and preserving were absolutely essential during wartime. When commercial vinegar was scarce, people would use leftover fruit scraps to ferment into homemade vinegar. This not only extended the shelf life of vegetables, but created layered flavours in dishes that modern vinegar rarely achieves. To replicate this, you would collect peelings and cores from apples, pears or other fruits, allow them to ferment in a jar with sugar and water. And, you'll have a sharp, fruity vinegar ideal for dressings or preservation. Oats replace breadcrumbs to thicken stews and meatloaf without altering flavour. Bread shortages encourage cooks to use oats as a binder in meat dishes or a thickener in soups. Oats absorbed moisture effectively and maintained texture under heat, sometimes producing, I dare say, a superior consistency to breadcrumbs. Modern kitchens, can easily replicate this by substituting rolled oats in meatloaf, burgers or hearty stews to achieve a satisfying body while reducing processed ingredients. Root vegetables and cabbage were often substituted for meat in stews, stretching protein while also enhancing nutrition. Meat was rationed, so stews were bulked up with potatoes, carrots, turnips and cabbage. These swaps didn't just fill stomachs, they enhanced flavour, balanced nutrition, and, honestly, even created dishes that modern palates might find richer and more complex than the meat-heavy versions. Today, integrating more root vegetables into stews or casseroles not only honours those wartime practices, but also produces satisfying, flavourful meals with fewer environmental costs. History isn't just something to read about, it's something to taste, experiment with, and, apply. By understanding and reviving these World War II food swaps, You gain insight into resilience, creativity, and practical survival skills that are still relevant today. Start small. Try incorporating mashed potatoes instead of eggs in a bread recipe, roast barley for coffee, or experiment with homemade vinegar from fruit scraps. Each swap tells a story and keeps history alive in a deeply practical way. If you found this guide valuable, do subscribe to After the Sirens, leave a comment sharing which swap you'd try first, and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. Keeping these techniques alive isn't just about cooking, it's about connecting with the resourcefulness of the past.